Hi, and welcome to Be Happy, Feel Great, where we bring on experts to help you with your own personal development. Today I have a very special guest. Jennifer Rosenwald is a best-selling author. She was at one time in her previous generation or life, she was a Fortune 500 personal managing director. A lot of experience she brings us, and she's also a personal life coach and business coach. But more important, this is the second time that Jen has been back on our show. She was on a while ago, and we just got such a tremendous response that I had to contact her and get her to come on again. So many great things that you're going to learn by watching the show today. Okay, Jen, thank you for coming back again.
So good to see you again.
Sorry I bobbled a few things. The second time I should have it all memorized.
Well, how many titles and how much experience can one girl have in 103 years of... No.
Oh, amazing. No, you just have such great experience, but it's all in helping people.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, what our show is about today. Helping people to... What are they looking to do? What do we want them to do here today?
Live the good life.
Live the good life, and
Right?
it sounds simple, but that's really what we're all here for, and we should be doing, because we're only here for a short period of time, right?
Right.
We're going to teach everybody.
You really have one at bat with life. You have one life, and it should be a good one.
Make it happy, enjoy it,
Yeah.
be successful.
Yeah.
Right?
All of the above, all of the above. Do what you can to feel good, have peace of mind, have contentment. That's how I define happiness versus, rapture and ecstasy, which are fun, but those are like sparklers, But
Oh, sure.
Life is about enjoying your experience, enjoying the ride so that, you get to the end and you think, I did it well, instead of, I forgot to be happy. I call it my V8 commercial bonk to the head. Oh my gosh. Spun all those plates, I did all that, and I forgot to be happy.
Yeah.
That is a waste. That is what I...
And so many people, that seems like the track that they're on.
Well, I think there's this panache with being busy, and stressed. You think you've had a bad day? Let me tell you about my day, So it's like, the sort of parts of life that are challenging or contrary. People come in, cut you off as you're driving or something or another like that. There's plenty of that. So what I do is help people with tools and tips, tactics to work on perspective, because with the right perspective, you help yourself feel good, and then you can have better relationships, you can think more proactively, you can be creative at work or at home, and most of all, enjoy it.
Enjoy it. And there's a balance in life that you're really trying to get people to do. It's like you're saying, to enjoy it. Some people think they're successful because they have a job that pays a lot of money. But they have this job, and that's it. Their life is an imbalance. Their relationships aren't good.
Absolutely.
They don't spend time. They don't have time to do the simple things in life, like celebrate the birthday with their 7-year-old.
Absolutely.
Or go to a
Right.
parent-teacher conference.
Right.
Or,
Right.
eat dinner together.
Exactly, dinner
A
together.
simple thing like eating dinner together. Everybody is just so busy, the rat race that's out there. But with your coaching, you help people.
And it's funny because that you say this, that most people think that it's the money. Now, certainly, the world requires that you have money, or you're just going to be worried about money all the time.
Sure.
It's a terrible worry.
Oh, yeah.
After
yeah.
bad health, it's the worst, bad health being the worst. But my clients, so many of my clients are exactly those people, that they have big titles, good jobs, they have the house that they always wanted, they're driving the car that makes them feel proud, you know what I mean? They've got all the trappings of success, but in my chapter, I open with one of my clients' quote. He says, "So why am I sweating through my shirt all the time? Why am I a high blood pressure mess? Why aren't I happy? And it comes down to several things, and one of them is valuing being happy over achieving, over the stuff, over amassing all the stuff. So it's as simple sometimes as just turning up the radio on your car ride home, noticing the sunset, anything to bring balance, anything to recalibrate. I really call it mood management. I'm in the mood management business. It's about
Yeah,
perspective.
Well, in that perspective, you could be in traffic.
Yes, which is not fun, but
A lot of angry people
Oh my
out
God.
there, road rage,
Yep.
everything else.
Yep.
But you could also, like you said, look out the window. Wow, what a beautiful sunset! Or look at the leaves are changing out there.
Right.
You know, uh, and there's different ways to put it in perspective. If you look at it and say, wow, I'm stuck in traffic, well, at least I'm safe, I'm here. There might be somebody up there that just had a bad accident,
Right.
and I'm not involved in the accident, so I have to wait a little bit.
Right.
If you're late for an appointment, hey, you make a phone call, I'm a little bit late, people
Right.
understand,
Right, right. You talk about this in your book, exactly that. It's not just, oh, do the nice and charitable thing and consider that somebody, give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Certainly giving people the benefit of the doubt is not only charitable, but it helps with your own mood, your own nervous system. So you're in traffic, what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not worth
You're
getting
stuck in traffic, you don't
upset.
have to be stuck in a really angry, stressful place. So it's about deciding that whenever possible, you want to clear your perspective.
And that's just a small example of what you do when you're coaching, either personal or with business. You're really untangling these people, you're getting them unstuck
Right.
in their lives.
Right.
Okay, not just the traffic, but you put the overall picture of all the different things. And you mentioned a few before. You mentioned health and
Yeah.
and then you mentioned finances, and there's quite a few things that all have to be in balance for somebody to achieve the happiness that you really.
But a lot of people tank their mood, tank their perspective, and therefore their health. You know what I mean? Like anger and depression and stress, all of that absolutely has been proven to lead to strokes, heart attack, failed relationships, substance abuse. So, you want to get out of that emotional feeling and that mindset. It's both emotions and mindset. So yes, you talk about being unstuck, and I talk about helping people get untangled. What we do is we help them. This is my life's work, is to teach them, teach a man to fish, teach them how to get themselves unstuck when they're in that place, because nothing good comes from it. You know what I mean? There are tremendous benefits from being able to adjust your mood, but be able to manage your mood, and then you can appreciate more, you notice more, you have better relationships, which you need in business, which you need to have success at home. So that's what I do. I mean, I talk circumstantially with people, but it's teaching.
Yeah,
So how?
And it all makes sense, and it sounds simple. And there was a quote that you actually had shared with me about the Will Rogers quote.
Yes, and I have that on my website too, and a lot of people use it.
Yeah, maybe we'll be able to get that quote up here on the screen. There it goes. Just because it's common sense doesn't mean it's common practice.
Right.
And that really says it all right there.
It's so true, because I find, and a lot of people who do what I do, find people will say, well, that's simple. It's almost too simple for them. You know what I mean? They want a very esoteric algorithm for happiness or something. And what you do to become happy and shift the tools that we teach and what works to break a bad mood or whatever are pretty simple, but just because it's common sense that if you do this, you'll have better results and a better experience of those results, doesn't mean it's common practice. So that's why people hire coaches, partially to have that repetition, to have the reminder, to be sort of hone the tools and that kind of.
A coach to me is almost like an accountability partner.
Yeah.
Where it's simple to say, eat healthy.
Right?
But boy, that ice cream and chocolate cake can look awfully tempting, you know. But if you have to have somebody, and you can't do it with a relative or a spouse, you know, it's too hard sometimes, you know, to have them. They're busy in their own way. They don't want to listen to your problems or
True.
your successes even sometimes, you know. You might say, gee, I just went 4 days without having any dessert, and you need somebody to be a cheerleader, you know, to applaud you
It's
for it.
part cheerleader. You can do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, the studies show, or I'm living proof, and look, you did it last week. And, you know, like, it's one thing to be a cheerleader, and it's important, especially when you really begin to use the tools and learn how to become happy, manage your mood, that kind of thing. It's important to keep coming back, and cheerleading is sort of reinforcing that. But sometimes there's some shoulder shaking in there too, and it's not
Oh,
just
sure,
don't
sure.
eat the cake.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, you know, and it's true, family members, friends, as much as they care, they've got their own stuff going on. They also are trying to, you know, wrangle the cake beast, you know.
And
you know.
they know how to get around you anyway a lot
Oh,
of
that's a good
times, you know.
point.
They
But they know how to look like
they
they're
have-
listening.
Yeah, yeah, they have the experience with it. So, and that's the other part, listening, you know, being a real active listener.
Oh, yeah.
So important in you know, the field that you're in and working with your clients, right?
Right.
That's the
And
other
and
part.
I like to say, this is how coaching is different than having a shoulder to lean on, or, you know, getting advice, you know, like, it's not just, here's what I want you to do. It's more like listening about, like, here's what you say worries you, concerns you, makes you angry. Here's where you say you want to go. Here are your dreams, kind of thing. So it's here's what we think will work for you, not here's what I think you should do. So it's listening to their priorities and their dreams, and what brings on the bad mood. You know, we sabotage ourselves. That's the part about accountability, is that people want me to help them not sabotage themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, today with everybody's busy lifestyle and the rat race that they're in, and you were talking all about the stress and what it does to the body, and each thing is, you know, depending on what you eat and exercise, you know, they all sound so simple. And we hear it over and over again. We read about it. You know that certain things are bad for you. And yet, people don't follow it. And you're working with people. You're also working with them, you know, with their careers.
Yeah,
So many people get up every day, I hate my job.
absolutely.
Shouldn't it be waking up to a fresh day and saying, wow, I'm excited to do X, Y, Z today?
Sure. Sure, there are
Right, and that's-
challenges, and there are setbacks, and there are failures, or just things that don't work, if you want to use, who is it, Edison, you know. But exactly, stress and anger and a bad perspective and blame, and it will follow you. It works. People say, are you business or personal? And I say, well, they go with each other. You know, work stress comes home, and home stress goes to work, if I said that right. So yeah, humans need repetition. So it's accountability, it's some shoulder shaking, it's listening actively and helping them map the direction and that kind of thing, so that the perspective is clear, so that they enjoy and realize that they've done well. A lot of people will succeed at something, reach a milestone, and not even take a breath. You know, like I ski down a tough trail, I like to get down to the bottom of it and look back up and say, I just skied that, and I make my client do that too. Let's take a moment. You just had a win.
Smell the roses, as they
Smell the
say,
roses, but
right.
appreciate the wins, you know, because the carrot always seems to be out in front of the donkey, and that is stressful. And it is, you know, and we know what we should do. We should eat well. In your chapter, you talk about sleep. My clients who don't sleep are the most miserable and the most anxious and the most, you know, untangled, as I like to say.
Yeah, I
So
like that. Yeah,
there are
thank you.
things that we need to do, and we go to the gym to have somebody help us sweat, because we know it's important for us, and build our muscles.
Sure.
You go to a coach. For me, my kind of coaching, and yours too, is to get your head in shape. I'm like a head trainer, get your head in shape so that you
people have
can
been going to
handle.
personal trainers for, quite a while, and people have other ways. Personal training, coaching is, somewhat a new area. Not everybody's familiar. That's, I'm sure, watching the show. But yet, when you're working with the people, as you said, you're listening, you're their cheerleader, you're helping them achieve their goals. You mentioned, I think you started mentioning a little quote that we were talking about earlier, that Henry Ford.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Henry Ford had said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
And
That's the mindset.
that's the mindset that you have to get people to realize they can do it. And then they could achieve those goals. And you have a great formula that goes along with it. And I love the
Thanks.
3D formula.
My 3D
and if
formula.
you could maybe just share that
We should
with
have
us
some
right
3D
now.
glasses. The 3D formula for how I, in a simple overview, break down the how-to of getting your head in shape, of becoming happy, of being able to handle everything that comes your way in life, but also not just handle the hurdles, but move towards what you want to move towards. And it's desire, decide, and do. 3 Ds. So desire is, first, you need to want to feel like life is worth it. And that seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of people kind of love being miserable, and they don't read my book, they don't sign up for coaching. They like to blame, they like to kick the sand, they like to talk about how busy, they're stressful, and they kind of
Dwell on the negative, really.
and they're stuck or tangled, and they don't mind, they get some benefit out of it. But some people are like, I want my life to be worth it.
You need that desire, and that has to be a strong desire to achieve it.
I want my life to feel worth it. I spin a lot of plates, I take on a lot of responsibilities, not me, but all of us take on responsibilities, wear a lot of hats, spin a lot of plates, whatever metaphor, and you need to want it to feel worth it, right? All the effort and all the,
Some people say they have the desire, but they really don't,
You know
And
how you can tell if they don't? Because they haven't decided the next one. The next is decide, and decide has a lot to
Okay, there you
do
go.
with personal responsibility. And that seems onerous, like, ugh, another responsibility.
I got to do it.
It's really quite freeing, because when you blame or say, I can't do anything about my crappy situation, you've given all your power away. There was a great mentor of mine, or Alan Carr. He wrote a great book, and he said, everything with your name on it is your responsibility. Now, it doesn't mean it's your fault, doesn't mean you have to fix it, but in other words, own everything that's showing up in your life.
After a while, I get tired of hearing people, I had a bad childhood, or, try to blame where they are on somebody else, and they're not taking that responsibility that you're talking about.
Right.
And you could look at other people that had a childhood 20 times as bad that are successful.
Absolutely.
But they had the desire. They didn't want to follow the path that they were taking, or
Right.
that.
Right.
And they made the changes. They took that desire, and then they went
And
they
decided. And deciding has to do then with, all right, I'm going to make sure that my life feels worth it. I'm going to make sure that I enjoy this ride. So I'm going to learn what I need to learn. I'm going to face down some, beasts in the closet, or I'm going to get a coach and move past some hurdles, some things I'm embarrassed or afraid of, or, whatever, angry about.
Yeah.
The childhood, the one who done you wrong kind of thing.
Yep.
That's what deciding is. Deciding is like, I'm going to learn. What I equate it to, these tools and tactics and step-by-step formulas that you have in your book, and that I have a bit in this chapter in this book and will have in my own book, but it's just about learning, and then the third thing is doing. But it's, in other words, just taking it on and deciding, I'm going to work on this like I work on my golf swing. That's why everybody needs a coach. Like, you all need to, expert skiers still take lessons.
Sure.
Golfers all, you work on anything like you'd work on fixing a bum knee,
Yeah.
That's the decide.
It's really, your do is really for them to take action.
And the do is simple and fun things. It's do this, don't do that. That's the name of my chapter. Do this, don't do that for quality of life.
By the way, I want to thank you. You've actually been plugging my book a few times, but
I love your book.
You're my guest, but for anybody who's wondering, I usually don't talk about it, but the book is Nothing Good Comes From a But, and it has been just available online at different places, and a lot of the reason that we gelled together so much, and I just talked about my book, but let's talk about your book, and that's the real reason that you're here. The Expert Success Solution is a book that you're collaborated with
Right.
and wrote with several other prominent people in the field.
Right, I'm a co-author, correct.
And you're a co-author, and it did make it to a best-selling status,
Yep.
an international
Yes,
best-selling status.
number one international book. Thank
Number
you,
one
Canada,
up
right?
in Canada, which was really great. Number two in the United
Yep,
States, I
yep.
think, that during that period.
Yes.
And it's available, right? You're going to extend a invitation to people who are watching this that they could get
My
the chapter?
chapter, because this is so important to me, that everybody gets this, everybody has the tools, everybody understands about perspective, how important mood management is. So my chapter is free to your viewers if they go on my site. They just put it, they don't have to download a lot of information, just put your email and then you'll get my chapter for free in this book, which was a collaboration
Oh,
with
wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
So your website again is?
JenniferRosenwald.com.
Okay, and I think we have the graphic up on the screen. And it's nice because it's not just like a Kindle version, but you could actually print the PDF out and read it
Yep.
at your leisure.
Yep.
Which is nice, and really the message that Jennifer is really here today is living the good life, and that's where she really helps people and has the passion. There's some people, they say they help people, and they really don't have the passion that Jen has, and that's really what comes out with you and people that you coach and you work with and you talk to, and
I know.
you and I met one
Somebody
day.
said if
and
somebody stands near me long enough, they're going to get it too. I mean, and some poor unsuspecting.
That's how I met you. I was standing next to you, and where were we?
I'm sure I
At,
insinuated
somebody's
myself.
show a few years ago.
Exactly.
And, and I enjoyed it. We were trying to get you on the show for a while, and I'm so glad. Look, we tried to get you on for a while, then we have you back a second time.
Thank you.
How's that for
It's
us?
so fun. This is so fun
This is
because we agree, because you help people. Look at this show. I mean, we have enough bad news. You know what I mean? This is a show that all about what works. You know what I mean? About life, about the positivity, and really not only just how it feels good and how that'd be better than the alternative, but there are alternatives, but there are health imperatives. This is really important stuff. And as I was saying, often like to say too, happiness first, success follows. It has been
What a great
proven.
message.
Yeah, happiness first, success follows is my mantra. That's really one of my
It is.
one
It
of my
is.
mantras. You hear me say it a lot.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense. How can you be successful if you're angry, if you're miserable, if you wake up every day and you're just depressed and you don't want to get out of bed? You have to be happy. In fact, some of your statistics were frightening in there about depression.
Well, yeah, there's statistics on both sides, and there's a lot of social science. I'm not going to quote everybody right now, but I've got that for anybody who likes stats, and there are always
And
some
anybody
people-
could contact you through your
Right,
website
exactly.
and everything
That,
too.
that people who feel good, who have peace of mind and are contentment, do better in business. That the givers and the people who feel good about themselves, they tend to be more charitable, they have better relationships. So happiness first, feeling good first leads to more success, because you're right, when you're angry and you're stressed, literally part of the brain that would generate ideas, that is creative, shuts down, because you're in fight or flight mode. If you're stressed and angry, you think there's a saber-toothed tiger bearing down on you, and it's really just somebody you're worried is going to get the promotion, or it's, your wife isn't listening to you, or your teenage son didn't come home, or whatever life throws at you.
Yeah,
But where
it's all
you
there.
clamp down And where you stay, like you talk about people being stuck, I'll say tangled. If you stay that way, the anger, the stress, the anxiety, the depression will have very deleterious effects on your health. As a matter of fact, scary statistic worth mentioning, the World Health Organization predicts that by the year 2020, 6 years from now, not some futuristic thing, depression will be the second leading cause of morbidity in the world. Morbidity leads to death. Mortality is what takes you out. So depression will be the second leading cause of morbidity in the world, affecting over 30% of adults. This is why I'm in this business, because there's enough.
Frightening figures.
And there's enough of the bad stuff, and there's the ego and the stress, and once you get past basic survival need, we all tend to really stress over stuff that doesn't really matter. In the moment it does, and certainly people have real loss, and people can be sad when they get passed over for a job, or if your spouse leaves them or something, somebody dies.
But all things should pass.
All
You
things
shouldn't be stuck there. You, with time, with the right attitude and the right help with somebody like yourself.
Right, and
You might not be able to get it. Maybe the people around you are all depressed, or they all have the anger and all that, which makes it worse. But, we really, you are the person that they could reach out to, and you are doing it one person at a time.
Right.
And we appreciate it. And I really appreciate you coming on the show a second time here.
It's been great.
It's just amazing how quick times go. I think I'm going to have to get you back a third time.
Twist my arm.
But people appreciate everything, and I would like to share with you a new copy. You plugged my first book so well. Here's my new copy named after the show, Be
Happy, Feel Great. Thank you.
Okay,
See how that's life.
Don't they look?
That's life.
That's happy right there.
There you go.
They,
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you for having me on. It's so fun.